Welcome to the Everyday Executive Woman, casual chats about real life as a woman and leader, the podcast where senior level women leaders share real life stories, struggles, and strategies to thrive personally and professionally. I'm your host, Well Woman Executive Coach and Brain Rewiring Expert, Lisa Michelle Smith. Join me for casual and candid conversations, relatable insights, and actionable guidance that will inspire and empower you to lead confidently, live healthily, and embrace your perfectly imperfect self. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast today. My name is Lisa Michelle Smith. I'm your host, and I am pleased today to have my guest with me, a longtime friend and colleague, Donna Long. And Donna is the founder and president, as well as the heart and soul of Gov Solutions, Inc. With a solid 30 years in program and project management. She's seen it all, especially when it comes to managing public sector contracts. Donna is known for her knack of pulling together the right team and making magic happen to deliver projects on time and beyond expectations. Her company is made up of 27 full-time employees, handles everything interiors, from designing and renovating office spaces to furnishing them just right. Her team of experts can turnkey any portion of the process. During her time in the U.S. Navy as a communications specialist, Donna picked up some serious leadership and team building skills, and she's been using those ever since to grow multiple businesses over the last 20 years. Beyond Gov Solutions, she's also behind Machini's Enterprises, VBT, and Falk built Greater Hampton Roads, focusing on real estate and digital component construction for interiors, respectively. But it's not all work for Donna, balancing her personal achievements with her personal life. She navigates the challenges, successes, and everyday hustle, just like her female executive peers. So welcome to the show, Donna.
Lisa, thank you so much. And thanks for asking me to join you today. I'm really excited about it. And I believe women should support women. And you do such a fabulous job of doing that. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. It's great to have you sharing about yourself personally and professionally. So just start off by telling us a little bit about how you started your company and, how long you've been running it. What was the origin of moving into the first company that you founded, and what's that behind the scenes with all of that?
So I think I'm going to take you back just a little bit further than that. So I joined the Navy at 18 years old. I enlisted in the Navy, and with the thought of seeing the world. I saw Adak, Alaska a lot, but anyway, it was, so I joined, I was married by 19. I had my first child by 20. I decided to let my husband carry on the career in the Navy by the time I was, 24, 25. And then by 29, I was divorced and had 2 children and was stationed in Maine in the reserves. So I needed to make some life changes. And many of the challenges that both transitioning military as well as military spouses, and we see that so much here in Hampton Roads, and I'm involved in organizations with that, to help. But in that particular time, my resume said 2 years here, 2 years there, 1 year here, took a break, raised kids. And so when I went to get back into the, workforce, not only did I have a military background, and it was, 1993, but I didn't have any solid long-term, work history. So I needed a change. I wanted to go back home. So in the middle of winter, right after the holidays, I packed up my 2 children, my cat, a 20-foot Ryder truck, towed the car behind me, and traveled to California, where I was able to see, my parents again. They were aging, and I I started to look for work, and there wasn't really anything out there for me, but I needed to start a new career. And I found Office Pavilion San Diego, which was a Herman Miller dealership in Southern California. And I applied through a temp agency. First day on the job, it just so happened that their project coordinator for government was getting ready to take a leave of absence and said that she wanted to come back just part-time. So there was a job opening in the furniture industry, commercial furniture industry. And they said, well, it'll be easier for us to teach you furniture than to teach somebody else how to navigate the federal marketplace. And that's how I wound up in the furniture industry. And if you ask anyone who's in commercial furniture, they're going to have a similar story. It isn't something that you go to school for and you say, when I grow up, I want to peddle commercial furniture. It just doesn't happen like that. So I joined on the operations side, and that was my strength. I could type 60 words a minute for being a communication specialist, 60 words a minute on a type, by the way. So I had those skills. And I quickly learned that my forte was really in sales versus so much on the admin side. So I took on two positions, both continuing with my administrative project coordinator side of the house as well as a sales side. Flash forward, I took a position that moved me here to Virginia in 2000. I worked for a government contractor, still on the furniture side, and that contract ended in 2004. So I decided to start my own business. I had been working on the government side, hence the name Gov Solutions. And I said, you know what, let me go ahead and just, start my own furniture dealership. I felt like I was, believe it or not, too old for sales. And I was just barely pushing 40 years old. But that's how I thought about it. I thought nobody's going to hire me. If I'm going to do this, I might as well start my own. So that's really how the beginning happened. It was, I was in my house, one person, and no employees. Then I finally hired my first employee, also out of my house. And I landed a really nice job for the Department of Veterans Affairs in Pittsburgh about 2 years into it. After I'd completely depleted all savings, took a second out of my house, and was paying my subcontractors using my credit cards. So
you're all in.
My neighbor told me, fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that there are more resources now than there were then. And I'm a big supporter of that. But it was impossible for a single woman with 2 kids to get a loan. Mm-hmm. So we had to do what we had to do. I had to do what I had to do. And that was the launch of Gov Solutions.
Yeah. Wow. So it sounds like you're really resourceful, when you find a way to get things done, and that you have a lot of tenacity.
A lot of something.
That's, whatever we want to call it. So you've got, 27 employees now.
Yes.
What are you, mostly responsible for as head of the company? What are some of the things that you have as your key responsibilities and way of leading,
yes,
how things are going with the company?
So for so many years, I was really into all of the details of Gov Solutions. And I had to learn through many different avenues, mentorship, great women, friends, and colleagues that I was able to look to and draw from, different, the 10,000 small business. I did that particular program and really learned that I needed to work on my business versus so much in my business. And that's when things really started to shine for me. And I became happier and had a more balanced life. I had about 10 years where there was no balance whatsoever in my life. It was just work, work, work. Um, I now have a staff of five, well, four managers, myself. So, and they run their different respective divisions. And through that, that's who I'm in most contact with, is by really empowering and leaning on the managers that run their divisions. And then I'm there to navigate any challenges that they may have. So that goes from our construction to our interior design to our accounting, um, to our operations. And so I play somewhat traffic cop and call me in when you need me to be there, and really just the oversight in the day-to-day operations. Unfortunately, I also have the final say on um, hiring and firing. So I would say that probably the hardest thing for me to do is when I have to let somebody go. And if there's anybody that would say that that's an easy part of the job, I would say that is not okay.
Yeah. I was a department head at one point in my earlier career, and yeah, I had to do that a few times, and so I totally get it. You have a hard time, hurting people's feelings, or creating disappointment for them, or the feeling of, oh gosh, what am I going to do? I don't have a job now. I totally get it. What I'm curious. Uh, what advice would you give another executive woman who is especially again if they are leading their own company, who has recognized that they need to start to let go of some of the reins, like you recognized? What would you say to them to help them to make that transition easier or possible for them?
I think one of the most difficult things, at least for me, in giving up the control is realizing um, that people are human and you're going to have to accept mistakes. You're also going to have to accept the fact that people are going to run things maybe a little bit different than you might run them. And so while you can guide that to really be able to shift and empower others, you have to give up some of your, I don't want to say standards, but your ideals. You want to give up some of your ideals on exactly how things need to operate, and be flexible with that to grow the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so that's helpful. And that, under the positive intelligence training that I do, and I know you went through
Yes.
that training as
Yes.
well, that's the controller saboteur uh, that really has a hard time of letting other people do it their way, trusting that, you're hiring the right people and that they know what they're doing, and that, you can let go, and somebody else's way of doing it might actually be better than yours, or
Yes.
get the job
You have
done.
found that too. They
Just,
teach me a lot of times. So that's the exciting part. After you've like allowed that to happen, um, then you'll become enlightened as well with the ideas that others come up with.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. So that's great. Again, a great point is that there's still things that you can learn as you rely on other good people around you. Is there anything that in particular that you feel like is helpful, has been shown to be helpful for you in your hiring decisions? Any particular things that you fall back on, or you know, values or characteristics that you find are must-haves, or that help you to, pick good people?
I would say for our furniture industry, it's really important really to find someone that understands it or is like, come from that industry. So a lot of it with that is word of mouth. But in general, because we have the general construction division that also, you know, works with the Falk Built Greater Hampton Roads, which is really a general construction piece. Even though everyone is Gov Solutions employees, they have to have a helpful attitude. Um, they have to understand that we've got collateral duties. So you might have your job as a small business, you've got your position, that's your primary, but everyone takes on a little bit of, collateral duty as well. So I like to say that I try to hire people that have a helpful attitude and want to be challenged, um, to grow, and definitely a team player.
How would you know ahead of time if somebody's a team player? Because oftentimes people can say that, but
I
is
know.
thing you've found that kind of in an interview process that has been an indicator that somebody really is?
I think it's a feeling, it's a warmth when talking with someone that you pick up on. Yeah, after a
So,
number of years. And I do not rely on myself for this, by the way. I'm usually either the first or the last. And it is not just me who makes that decision. So, whatever department, because each department has their own culture, and then the company has its own culture. And I leave it up to the managers. So if I've, come across a candidate, in fact, right now we're hiring for 4 different positions coming into the new year. And they are in different departments. So where I might do that initial interview and then I say, okay, I'm good. And then I pass that to the manager that they'd be working with. And then a lot of times they'll have them sit with their colleagues, their potential colleagues, before making the final decision.
sounds like a wise process. They're going to be the ones working with and managing them. So, you know, you need to make sure that they've got the input on that and that they're relying on their, past experiences and instincts. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah. So, what does a typical day look like for you? I like to ask all my guests this, right? Um, what does it look like starting your morning from waking up and, going through your day, engaging with your work, and then sort of any kind of, delineation between work and personal life and, you know, how you're ending your days. What is kind of a typical, if you can say there's typical for you, day look like?
I'm so glad that you asked me that. So most of the time I'm at the ocean front, but I also have a lake house. So depending on where I am, I at least get up and I try to go outside and greet the day, usually before a little bit before sunrise, so that I can see sunrise happen. And I thank you, Lisa, for really, helping me through the positive intelligence and all of the assistance that you've given me on my, personal side of the house to really, help balance. So I start with, what we call the PQ reps, or a little meditation or something just for myself to, take in the fresh air, and start the day with the right attitude. And I found that that is so helpful, because it's just like running a family when it comes to your business and your company. And if I come in all frazzled, well, that creates frazzle throughout the entire place. So I need to come in, smile, greet people, have a good attitude. And that's going to set the stage for not only myself, but those who are around me. And I've really come to realize that. So thank you for all of your coaching and encouragement and assistance with that. I
Yeah,
really
well,
appreciate it.
I'm glad that you embrace that. And then again, that's so important. The leader leads, right? And there's that trickle down. So the attitude of the leader and the values of the leader really strongly influence, the rest of the company. And um, you can't have a positive dynamic within the company if the leaders are demonstrating something different, right?
That's right.
Or they verbalize, this is, what we believe and this is our mission, or, these are our values, but they don't live them. And
That's
unfortunately, I hear a lot of that from a lot of my my clients, whether they're executive women clients or they're other types of clients. Um, I hear it so much of that going on in the workplace with
yeah.
do as I say, not as I do kind of
Right.
situation.
It
I
doesn't
love
work like that.
yeah,
No.
I love that you set that positive example. Um, so uh, tell me what are the some of the ways that you like to use your company and your success to be able to give back to the community? I know you've got a passion project, something within the company.
So thank you so much for asking that. Yes, we definitely believe in giving back. And one of my many times of trying to take the company and take Gov Solutions and um, have it resonate that we're not only federal government based, but we are also, um, we work with all public sector and commercial um, contracts and customers. So our tagline is what's inside matters. So what's inside the building matters and what's inside your heart matters. Um, what you do for your community, it all matters. I'm not getting any younger, and I want to make sure that my legacy also reflects that the company and myself have been good, community activists for um, all sorts of organizations. The ones that we have worked with primarily is every year we're a sponsor for Virginia Beach Fallen Heroes. I've been the president of Tidewater Arts Outreach, and my company has been, supportive of that organization. Last year, it was the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and we did that as a company event to support those with Alzheimer's and hopefully come up with a cure at some point in time. It affects so many of us. So, and I know that several people within the company are, you know, dealing with elder parents. Um, and so we try to find something that's supportive of the community as well as showing that we're supporting our employees with recognizing a cause that means something very specific to them that's in their heart.
Well, I love that. Yeah, that's my grandmother uh, had Alzheimer's for many years and eventually succumbed to that. So that's a cause near to my heart as well. Um, so I'm as part of these podcasts is, we're getting real with people and, sharing what, the not so perfect picture, right? That oftentimes we try to put forth to everybody. So what are you willing to share with our listeners about um, any of the current struggles that you're experiencing right now, either within the company or as a leader, or anything, personally that you're challenged with, or, trying to figure out, how to work through?
Mm-hmm. Um, so I will say that women are great leaders as a whole. It's still not recognized. We still have work to do. And we're not going to get there by not having each other's backs. We're not going to get there. Um, Gosh, I'm probably not even going to be politically correct here, but we're not going to get there by joining the good old boys network. We are going to get there as a whole by taking a stand, being professional, whether you're a business owner or you're a professional, especially when it comes to working within, a historically male dominated role or organization. Um, you know, I'm a Navy veteran. Part of my company is general construction. I experience it on a regular basis. Are we going to whine about it? No, we're not going to whine about it. We're going to take the high road. But we also need to take that high road, be professional. I think everyone should have an opportunity to work in whatever field they want to work in. And that as a community, as a whole, we should take those qualifications and truly dive in to, it doesn't matter what your sex is, it doesn't matter, you know, what your race is, none of that matters, but we also should not make that a preference, if that makes any sense. Gov Solutions has been awarded numerous times for its funny DEI awards, but my stance every single time is we have a diverse company. We have a nice mixture of men, women, and, you know, several different nationalities. It happened organically. It did not happen because we put it doesn't serve anybody. If we put a check block to say, I have to have, you know, so many women, or I have to have, you know, so many African American, or I have to have this, that just diminishes the qualification that the person brings to the table. And for us, it's happened organically. And that's my number one thing, is let that piece happen organically. And when you come up into a situation where your company or you've got other women that you're working with, be kind, be supportive, do not be catty. That's how we're going to get to the next level.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing with that. So I always like to ask at least a personal question. And you know, as a coach of executive women, one of the things I really help them to focus on is balance of work and personal, and self-care, and ways to relax, ways to rejuvenate yourself in a positive way. It's like a win-win kind of way instead of a win-lose kind of way. So what are some things that you do, or maybe a favorite way for you to disconnect from work, to unwind, and to have fun?
Okay. I love to ride my bike every chance that I get when it's nice out. I will take that lunch break. I just did it the other day. We had 70-degree weather here, and I'll ride my bicycle on the boardwalk. It also helps me to clear my brain. I love to swim. I love traveling. I'm in this position with Gov Solutions, but most people who know me will say, Donna, where are you traveling next? I traveled so much in this last year that I am so happy to be home and just enjoying, you know, like the day to day, be at home, no travel. So maybe this year is gonna, you know, make a change in that. But just to enjoy life, family is very important. Getting the little time that we have as our children grow and go off and do their own, you know, careers in life. So anyway.
And live music, because that's where we're always bumping into each other.
Yeah, let's not forget about the music. Yes, we both love music.
Awesome. So anything that I did, like any kind of parting words or encouragement for executive women out there to you know, be able to meet those demands and still take care of themselves, anything you know, that you can impart?
Whatever it is that you're passionate about, take some time to do that on both, you know, a lot of times it's our professional life that we're passionate about, but find some other sort of, you know, passion if you don't have it, and if you do, make time for it.
Great advice. And yeah, so what I always share is remember to take care of yourself first, so you can better take care of those you are leading, as well as, you know, those that are in your personal life. And
Yes.
Just remember to do your best and know that your best is always good enough. So thanks
Excellent.
for being on the podcast with me today, Donna.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me on The Everyday Executive Woman.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe or bookmark this channel, leave a review, and share it with another executive woman who could use some encouragement. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Just be you. Until next time, keep grounded, keep growing, and keep taking care of you.